Hi, welcome to our first episode of Super Messed Up Bros. My name is Manny.
My name is Angel.
You know, we've been waiting to do this podcast for a while now. We've had the equipment and everything. And there was a story that you were going to tell me. And I told you, just wait till we get on our first episode.
This is a story that it's kind of one of those stories that's kind of gross. Okay, so this is probably like a few months back, and this is like during like in the heat of the pandemic. How do you say it? Like when it was like at its worst?
Yeah, at the very beginning.
No, more like in the middle.
Okay.
I feel like during like when it was at its worst, we were all in lockdown. It was like no going out. There was like curfews, you know?
Yeah.
It was like at its worst. And I think around that time, most people, they would just drink, you know, stay home and drink.
Yeah.
And I was one of those.
Yeah, me too.
I was one of those that would just stay home and drink, you know, because there was nothing else to do. You couldn't go out. So this was like before curfew. Like I invited someone that I was talking to over. Before she got there, I just took it upon myself just to get started, pre-game by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I think I had bought like 3 tall boys, and I bought a bottle of vodka, and I bought a bottle of wine.
Okay.
I bought way too much.
But did you drink all of that before she showed up, or that was for the night?
That was for the night, but I decided to just get started early.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's 3 tall boys, and that alone should be good enough, you know. But I bought the bottle of vodka, and then I bought a bottle of wine just because I wanted to have a good night. So I have a low tolerance. I had bought the 3 tall boys, the bottle of vodka, and the bottle of wine. I think I had just drank. I think I went straight to the vodka. I thought this is gonna mess me up way quicker. I'm gonna do a shot and just wait for her to get here.
And this was your first time meeting her?
No. Like I already hung out with her for a while.
Okay, good.
I just wanted to, just pre-game just because of it.
Because if it's your first time meeting her, you don't want to be drunk the first time.
Yeah, well, you know what? I try to avoid being too drunk, because I like to be in my senses. But no, like I'd known her for a little bit.
You wanted to avoid being drunk, but you went straight to the vodka.
Yeah, well, I just wanted a pregame, like I was so bored. I just wanted to just, get that level of let's party. So it started off with a shot. I just do 1 shot, and then she's still not there. So it turns into 2 shots. She's still not there. Turns into 3, turns into 4, turns into 5. Finally, it was about 6 shots in where I was really starting to feel it. Yeah. And then I get the knock on the door, And then once I open up, she comes in. She can tell right away. She could smell it off me, I remember we just kind of just jumped right into it. We just put on like some TV. She went straight for the wine, so I had a little bit of wine, and then we started tackling the tall boys. And around this time where we started drinking the tall boys, I remember I started to feel like I was blacking out, like coming in and coming out, of the situation. And what I remember last is kind of looking up at her, and she's looking at me with like a very disconcerted face, like, "Are you all right?" I just remember looking up at her like, "Hey, I don't feel good," And she was like, "We'll go to the restroom," So I can't get up, so she kind of like lifts me up to kind of carry me over to the restroom. But I'm a pretty big guy, and she's a very small frame girl, so like she was struggling just to kind of pick up all of me, Yeah. We made it like halfway to the restroom where I couldn't hold it, and it was kind of just like, Yeah. Kind of just threw up all over her.
Throw up on her?
Yeah, it was. And what was more embarrassing is I could see like the food.
Oh my God, it was a chunky. Oh, that's
yeah,
gross.
It was like one of those chunky ones. I know it's gross, but I mean, these things happen. And it was spaghetti. I just remember it was red.
Even when my kids throw up, I can't stand it.
Yeah, well, vomit just alone is a very disgusting topic to discuss, but I mean, it happens, and it happened to me, and this is my story.
And what did she do as soon as that happened?
As soon as it happened, she kind of just dropped me to the floor. She was like, "You know what? I'll see you another day,"
And she just left?
Yeah, she was just like, "Make sure you clean that up,"
Oh, man.
And you know what? I think I just fell asleep,
Right there on the floor?
Yeah, like I was so drunk, man. It was like 6 shots, like a bottle of wine, and then like a tall boy,
And what were you thinking the next day when you woke up?
Fuck. You know, that was my first thought. As soon as I opened my eyes, fuck, I blew it.
And then you told me that she gave you a second chance. She was like, "Hey, you know what? Let's hang out again."
Yeah, I think it's kind of a blur though, but I remember it was maybe like a couple days later. Like after that day, she kind of just left me alone, and I kind of thought, "You blew it, dude. You know, don't even like hit her up or anything. Like you threw up all over her, and it was red and chunky." And she left without saying a word other than just clean it up. So yeah, a couple days passed, and then she messages me, but I mean, no, like time passed, and you move on, and you meet other people, you know. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what happened. I feel like it was a blessing in disguise, if anything.
But the fact that she gave you a second chance must mean that, you were at least doing something right. Because I remember when you used to be terrible at talking to girls.
Yeah,
Terrible.
I was very, very shy. You know, a little bit it still lives in me, but not to the extent when we were like
Like in high school.
in high school. Yeah,
With Leah.
just that was like the worst of it. You know,
Yeah.
that was around the time where like I had no social skills, very timid. You know.
Do you remember that time that you were going to ask her to the movies?
Yeah, so I remember we were outside during lunch, you know,
Yeah.
you, me, and a couple of the other guys. And I don't know how it came about. It was just like, I think we were discussing about going to the movies, but we were like, but we should take dates, you know?
Yeah.
And all you guys had it covered already, you know? You guys are just capable of just, you know, going up to someone like, hey, let's go to the movies. And they would be like, all right, what time? But me, like, I was always the class ass, you know? Like, I was the stupid, funny kid, stupid little fat, funny kid. So no one really like saw me as a potential date. So it made me insecure. But around high school, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't think I was that ugly or anything.
But do you remember walking behind her in the cafeteria pacing, trying to.
Yeah. So I just remember like everyone. We were outside and I remember she was in the cafeteria and you guys were kind of just pep talking.
Yeah, we were trying to hype you up and be
Yeah,
like,
just
"Look,
trying to
Angel,
hype me up.
don't be nervous. If you're nervous."
Well, you need some confidence. So I went in there
And we got you really hyped up. I remember that.
super hyped. You know, I'm feeling myself. I'm like, I got this. I'm gonna ask her to the movie. She's gonna be my date. This is gonna go good. And the complete opposite happens. You know,
Yeah,
I end up pacing back and forth behind her. You know, like some kind of creep,
we kind of knew that you were gonna fail, so we followed you into the cafeteria.
which
Like,
is really nice. You know, to hear from your brother. You know,
yeah, well, it was something to see. We were like, let's go see how this.
you
goes
guys
down.
just wanted to see something funny. You know,
Yeah, yeah, we did.
you guys knew that I would
And
make
we
an ass
did.
out of myself, and of course I did. But you know, you guys should have been more. You know, give better advice. You guys are just trying to get me. You're setting me up to fail. In other words.
Well, the funny thing is, we got you hyped up. You got this, Angel. And a part of me, of course, wanted to see you succeed. That's why I gave you that pep talk.
Yeah,
But
but
I knew deep down you weren't going to be able to do it.
of course.
But we're like, let's just see where it goes. Let's see if he does it.
Who
And
knows? You know, I
and
might
when we
surprise.
get in there, your confidence just dropped. You're pacing back and forth. She's sitting right there in the cafeteria, just hanging out with friends, and she has you walking right behind her, pacing back and forth, just
Muttering.
"Come on, Angel, you got this, you got this." And she could hear you. She
Yeah.
knows what's going on.
So finally, I just decide like I'm just gonna get this over with, and then I'm standing behind her and I grab her shoulders. You know, it's not even like I put my hands on her shoulders. I grab her shoulders.
You got this sudden urge of confidence to just go
Adrenaline.
for it, and it just came out too much because you just like attacked her. You were like,
Do you want to go to the movies with me? You know. So, of course, she said no. You know.
She probably felt like, I don't know what's gonna happen if I go with this guy to the movies.
Yeah, I know. But it didn't work out, and it didn't work out at the dance either. So it didn't work out for the movies, and it didn't work out at the dance either. Because I had asked her to go. Well, I tried to ask her. Well, I didn't even attempt. I'm sorry. I didn't even attempt to ask her to
No,
go to the
here's
dance.
what happened. We went to the dance, and you had it in your mind. Okay, I ruined the cafeteria thing, so I'm gonna try to talk to her when we get to the dance. And from the very start to the very end of a 2, 3, I don't know how long this dance was, but you spent hours just at the table building confidence. And somehow she knew too. I'm sure somebody told her, like, Angels really want to talk to you.
And she wants to ask you to dance.
And so you spent the whole night sitting at the table, just listening to and we were taking turns because we were
I
going and
think
we
you
were
were sitting at the
dancing. And
table with your date, no?
I don't remember who it was, but yeah, we were and we would go and we would dance, and we were kind of all taking turns, like coming back to the table and
Just so I wouldn't be alone.
trying to be like, "Come on, Angel, come with us. Just forget about it. Come dance. Come have a good time."
Just
And you
enjoy
were like,
yourself,
"No,
you know?
I'm not gonna go until I talk to her." And she knew, so she was nice enough to, at the very end of the dance, she came up to you.
She came up to me and she was just like, goodbye, you know, just trying to, I think she was just trying to like initiate a conversation because she was thinking in her head, this guy spent the whole dance trying to talk
Yeah,
to me and he didn't, you know, so I'm just gonna at least go say goodbye to him. That way.
which is really nice of her. I think she just, like you said, she knew that you were sat there all night, and she's thought, well, I'm gonna at least just say goodbye. I'm gonna give him that.
Yeah. And of course I blew that.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can blow a goodbye up.
What did
But
you tell her when she said bye?
so she comes up to me and she was like, bye, Angel. And instead of being normal and just being like, bye, you know, like, you look great or something, you know, uh, the first thing that pops in my head is, the Michael Jackson thing was a big tragedy, no? And she kind of just like looks around like,
'Cause
yeah.
this was around the time that the news came out that Michael Jackson just passed away.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I'm not even like a big fan of him or anything. It was just like the first thing that popped in my head.
I was a huge fan.
Yeah, you were a huge fan, but me, like, I could care less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have said a million other things, but
Which is why it was more shocking to come from you. We were all standing in the background.
just like,
And we just heard she came up to you. We knew what she was doing, so we appreciated it as your friends, me as your brother, and she was like, "Goodbye, Angel," and then you just started going, So the Michael Jackson thing
was a
a
big tragedy. Huh? Like
And
the
then
stupidest thing you can tell
and
someone.
she looked back at us like, yeah.
That's worse than saying like, so the weather, you know?
Yeah.
It's way worse than mentioning the weather, you know? But I don't know. I was young.
And then from there we went to the party afterwards at
So that was
somebody's house.
an after party after that dance, and thank God I was invited. I don't know how, you know, after being the guy I was in high school. I think it's just because
No,
I
because
was.
you were always a good time though.
Yeah, it was more so like this guy's gonna do something stupid, and we
But
want him around to see
yeah,
it.
getting back to your low tolerance, I think everybody knew Angel has a really low tolerance,
Yeah.
and you got pretty drunk right away.
So I get there, you know, trying to forget a bad night. I just go straight to booze, you know, like I'm gonna drink my stress away, my problems away, and I'm gonna be all right. But of course, because I have that low tolerance, like that was like probably another bad choice.
Here's what I remember. This was my point of view. So you were doing your thing, I was doing my thing, and then somebody comes up to me and they say, "Hey, your brother's he's about to ride a horse," and right away I knew that's a bad idea. And I came up to you and you were climbing through the fence to get into the horses, and you were mad at me for trying to stop you. You were like, "Manny, I got this."
Because it seemed like it was gonna be a good time, you know, and I really felt like if I can't ask to dance, I'm gonna ride this fucking horse.
I think you needed to prove something to yourself, and you maybe since she was there, you were like, "This is gonna get her attention. She's gonna see me on this horse, and she's gonna think, damn, this guy's a badass."
He might not be able to talk to me, but he can ride a horse. You know,
So I remember you
he
got
sure
mad.
can ride.
You said, "Manny, I got this," and there was like three guys laughing.
There was like 5 guys.
There was a few guys there that told you to get in. They were laughing, and I got so pissed off because you were drunk. I knew it was a bad idea.
So what did you do?
And so then I stood on top of a table and I just started shouting, "Everybody shut the fuck up." And I was like, "This guy right here."
You pointed to me. You pointed me out. You singled me out in the crowd. This guy right here. And everyone fucking looks at me, which is why everyone knew who to go to afterwards.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, "This guy right here, he's my brother. And he's already getting drunk. I don't want to see anybody giving him any alcohol anymore." And I got off that table. No, I remember I said, "If I see you giving him any alcohol, I'm going to kick your ass."
And then you get off the table and then the party continues. But the party really continued for me because after that, everyone kept coming up to me like, hey, drink this. Hey, you want some of this? You know, like I'm some
Yeah.
kind of alcoholic. I don't know. But I mean, of course, I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to
And I,
lose.
and I kept coming up to you, checking in on you. And I was like, "Angel, are you drinking?" And you were like, "No." And I
What?
was like, you sound drunk."
Smelled worse,
And
you
do you
know?
remember hiding them in your shirt and stuff like that?
Kind of. I don't remember. But I just know that the whole night, everyone just like, hey, drink this, you know?
Do you remember that one party we went to where you kicked the gasoline can into the fire? We were at a bonfire.
Yeah, it's always quinceañeras that get crazy, you know. But yeah, we went to another party.
This wasn't a quinceañera though. It was just like a small.
No, it was a quince, but then that party kind of sucked, so we
It-
went to another party.
Yeah. So at the other party, because there was only like 5 people there.
It's because that's
It
what
wasn't
high
even a
school
party,
is.
it
High
was- it was
school is
just,
all you do is go to parties or quinces, you know, and even quinces are just like a time to get drunk.
But I remember you got kind of drunk and you kicked. We were at a bonfire, and they had like a small can of gasoline where they were just pouring it on the fire.
They had a little small fire pit, and they kind of threw some wood in there, you know. Do you remember you and a couple other guys going to get some wood?
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, what were you wearing?
I don't know. I was wearing like a muscle shirt.
No, you weren't wearing any shirt, because that's what you always do at every single party. Every single party you go to, you always have to take off your shirt. It could be like 5 minutes in, Manny doesn't have a shirt. Anyways, that's not the point. It's just
I remember that. I was
just for
I was carrying
context
all
of the
this
story.
firewood with no shirt.
Yeah, which must fucking hurt, by the way. But anyways, yeah, you go get the firewood. We build like the little fire in the fire pit, and they had like a little can of gasoline to kind of like get the fire going. But I remember, this is my side of that story. I remember the fire looking too big, and I see the gasoline tank close to it. In my head, I was thinking, we need to get this can away immediately. So I kick it, but because I'm drunk and I have bad what's that word? I have bad correlation.
Coordination.
Coordination. Yeah, I had bad coordination. So I kicked the can, but I kick it into the fire.
Yeah, and everybody was pissed off.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "What the hell did you just do? You just
We all
kicked
thought we were gonna die or
gasoline."
something, you know. We just saw like the biggest explosion in our heads, and we thought, "Fuck, this is it." You know, Angel's stupid. He killed us.
I think I ran and I got a stick and I just smacked it out of the.
Yeah, you did it fast too. I'm surprised with that. The size of that fire, that gasoline tank didn't just explode or combust as soon as it was in the fire.
Do you remember when we left? When we left from that small bonfire and we were getting a ride back to Sebastian's house.
I remember you and everyone else being extremely drunk, and
I don't think I was drunk.
I think you were drunk.
Maybe I was.
I think you were wasted.
Because I still remember the whole night though.
Yeah, but you were still pretty drunk.
Maybe I was.
Yeah, but do you remember where he kept running after the car?
Yeah,
and even the mom was in it.
Yeah, so and me and Adam knew. So here's the thing: is we were getting in her SUV, and there was a couple of us, So me and Adam, we were sitting in the trunk of the SUV, and the door was wide open, and we saw that Sebastian was way out there approaching the vehicle, and we started laughing because we were like, "Oh, he's not gonna make it. We're just gonna leave him behind."
But even so, the mom was like in a rush to leave. Do you remember?
Yeah, because it was already late. She was going to give us a ride home. And so we saw Sebastian in the distance running to
you know what? Which is even crazier is we were going to his house.
Yeah, we were going to Sebastian's house.
She was dropping us off at his house, and he wasn't even in the car.
Yeah, and so that's what we thought was so funny about it.
So she starts driving. She's like, "Is everyone in the car?"
Yeah, and we said yes.
Yes.
We saw Sebastian in the distance.
Walking towards the car.
And then she said,
As soon as she started up the car.
And the door was wide, the trunk door was wide open too. I don't know how she didn't notice. But she said, "Is everybody in?" And we were like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "All right." And she takes off, and then Sebastian starts running.
But as soon as she starts driving, that's when he started picking up his pace and he started running after the car.
Yeah, we were impressed, and we kept telling him, "Run, run, run."
Yeah, and instead of stopping the car, we just keep going and like, you better make it, dude.
Yeah, we're like, if you don't make it, we're going without you. And it's funny because we were going to
His house,
And so he ran faster than I thought he could run, and he reaches to grab something to just pull himself in.
What happened? Did Adam try to like kick him out or anything like that?
No, we were just like entertained just watching him.
I feel like if anyone would try to like push him out, it would be Adam or something,
Yeah, I think he would do that, but he didn't.
He didn't that day.
But Sebastian was running, and he was just trying to grab anything that he can grab to just pull himself into the SUV, and he ended up grabbing the seatbelts. So of course, it just like stretched.
Oh shit! I remember that now.
And I think he kind of like stopped running. He was ready to take a leap into the SUV, but the
so he's kind of just holding on to the seatbelt,
And then I think that's when the mom noticed, and she stopped, and we're all cracking up.
But then what happens when we get to his house? Do you remember?
Yeah, this is the poor boy soup story.
Yeah, so we get to his house, we're all thinking, we're going to crash in his house, in his room or something, probably be spread out in the living room, kind of just, it was cold that night.
It was freezing. It was probably that's why we did the bonfire, because it was cold. And that's why we were at a bonfire. And we get to his house, and he said, you guys can just, because we were supposed to stay the night there. And I don't know what happened, but we ended up having to leave, probably because we were all being drunk and stupid.
We just wanted to party.
And so Sebastian was like, let's go back to my house. We could stay at my house. When we finally get there, he goes inside. He comes out. He says, my mom said we can't stay inside the house, but she said we can all stay in the van.
Yeah.
And so we were like, all right, let's do it.
Fuck it, let's just go in.
We were
it's
just
cold.
High school, we didn't give a shit.
We just wanted to already just lay down.
I think we were
crash
tired.
out.
We just drank. We were tired, and I remember it was freezing in that van, and we told him, hey, you know what? We just drank.
We noticed that the window was open.
We were hungry,
Hungry, cold, and tired.
Yeah, and we told Sebastian, bring us some food, bring us
some blankets, and close that window.
And I remember he runs inside the house. He comes back out with
cereal,
cookie dough, and ice cream.
It was cookie dough, a box of cereal, and ice cream.
And the cookie dough and the ice cream was melted.
The cookie dough was just raw.
Was it frozen?
No, it was frozen.
It was frozen?
It was frozen.
It was, because
Had raisins in it too.
I remember we were laughing at him saying, how is your ice cream melted, but the cookie dough is frozen?
But how are you going to bring us ice cream in the cold?
Melted
ice cream in the cold.
And that's where poor boy soup came from, because
yeah.
Adam was laughing. And
he was like, what do you call this? Poor boy soup?
And so, yeah, we were just hungry. We ate it anyway. We definitely didn't do anything with the ice cream. We were like, take that back.
Yeah, but we had some crazy munchies because we were drinking.
And so he brought us cookie dough, ice cream, melted ice cream, and cereal. Well, we ate the cookie dough. We ate the ice cream.
And we drank the ice cream. What are you talking about?
We did?
We drank it. It was melted. What else could we do?
Yeah, I guess we did.
I did.
I remember eating the cereal just like that. We were all just...
I think we mostly just focused on the cereal and the cookie dough,
And then anyways, he brings us blankets. We fall asleep. And the next morning...
we walked to Chris's house.
Yeah, and we take the blankets with us because it was freezing in the morning.
Yeah.
And I remember you guys were laughing because you were like, hey, is that...
Well, hold on. Well, Adam... You were walking behind us, and me and Adam were in the front, and Adam kept laughing, and I was like, "What's up?" And he tells me, "It's like, Manny's walking with a shit blanket," and I'm like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, there's a piece of shit like next to Manny's. There's like a stain on Manny's face." So I turn around and I see you kind of like snuggling with that blanket as you're walking. So I kind of like slow down and I catch up to you, and I just kind of look at the blanket and I'm like, "Oh my God, there it is." So I walk up back to Adam and I'm like, "I see it." Instead of telling you anything, we're just like, yeah, let's just let him walk with it.
Yeah, I remember you guys were laughing, and I was like, what are they laughing at?
We're assholes, we're always assholes to each other.
And I was pissed. I threw the blanket on the ground.
Once you found out.
Yeah. No, but
and then do you remember right away? There was a truck that like ran over it. Yeah. Do you remember
that? Yeah.
Yeah, like as soon as we threw it on the floor, like here comes a truck and he just we're like, fuck it, it's Sebastian's blanket. No one cares. There's shit on it anyways.
Poor Sebastian.
Why would he have that though? Like, what did he do with that blanket?
I don't know, but I really hope that wasn't a shit stain. I hope it was just a stain of...
I don't know. He brought us like melted ice cream and he had a blanket full of shit. Like that says a lot.
So last night we were watching a movie, me, Alex, and her cousin. And we were looking through the movies.
I'm going to take a wild guess. Was it Insidious?
No, we were going to watch Insidious, but... I was like, no, it's too scary. And that's when we started talking about the debate that we still have going on to this day.
Which is super annoying.
So you tell your side of the story, and then I'm going to tell my side of the story.
So me and my brother were watching a scary movie. I believe it was The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
It was The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is arguably one of the most scariest movies.
Nah, I can argue that it's one of not the most scariest. Okay, but this is my side. Okay,
I'm gonna let you tell your side, and then I'm gonna tell the truth.
Shut the fuck up. Anyways, so we're watching this movie, and it's pretty late at night. Like I'm on the couch, and he's like sitting on the floor. And don't get me wrong, like it was.
And how old were we at the time when we watched?
We're like in high school. I was probably like 14. You're probably like 15, 16. Yeah. Yeah, so I ended up feeling really tired, and I go to bed. But when I go to bed, I usually put the blanket over myself, like I cover myself completely. But of course, you don't believe that, but you'll have your time to speak on it.
I'll explain right now.
Yeah, you'll explain. Okay, shut up.
So you have a blanket because
I like to watch movies and get a blanket and snuggle like that.
Okay.
I've always been like that. I still do it to this day.
but you had your face covered, so that's not watching a movie with a blanket. That's hiding under the
Ask
blanket.
my girlfriend. Like every time I go to bed, my face is covered.
Okay,
I
when you go to
still
bed,
do it, even if I'm
yes.
not watching a movie.
When you go to bed, but what about when you watch a movie? You don't cover your face to watch a movie.
Yeah, but the blanket's like on my neck. You know, my head's just out watching the movie. But once I go to bed, I kind of sink in, and the blanket's I just kind of pull it over. You know.
All right, so we're watching The Exorcism of Emily Rose. You have a blanket because you're scared.
It's scary, but I wasn't scared.
I didn't mind that you were under the blankets because I knew, you know what, it's a scary movie. You know, he wants to, I figured he just wants to cover his face every time it gets scary because you used to do that.
No, you have it backwards. You would do that.
Okay, I did do that.
No, yeah, you would do that because I remember when we went to the movies one time with Candace and her friend, and we were watching another scary movie. They gave you a shirt so you can cover, and I felt like, don't do that. You know, let's be cool, okay? Let's look cool.
So you were under the blanket. We're watching The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and you were covering your face during scary
Yes,
parts.
no, I was tired.
No, because you were.
I don't remember like that. I honestly don't even remember the movie. I think as soon as we started, I was already drifting asleep.
Well, I don't remember the movie much either, but I do remember that in the movie they would bring up 3 o'clock a lot throughout the movie. At 3 o'clock, things happen, and they would show the clock.
It's the devil's hour.
Striking at 3.
Yeah.
And around this time, it was almost 3 o'clock, and you were under the blankets for a while. You fell asleep, but you fell
Like
asleep.
in the very beginning of the
You
movie.
didn't fall asleep in the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
All right.
That's when I started drifting asleep. As soon as I lay down and put the blankets on, it was game over. I was already getting tired.
Okay, I don't think so. No, we were putting on the
Yeah,
movie.
you don't think so,
We chose
but-
it together, and I remember
It's not the truth.
you grabbed a blanket because you were like, I need to prepare myself for this movie. And you got a blanket.
No,
you
my
lay
God.
down.
No, that's not what it was. Yeah, I was preparing because I like to watch movies like that. I like to be comfortable. Who doesn't?
Yeah, okay. So you were covering your face throughout the movie. And towards the end of the movie, I was like, man, Angel's been under there for a while now. And I realized you fell asleep. And I was like, man, he fell asleep on me because he spent so much time under the blanket hiding from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie ends. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I was freaked out because everybody in the house is asleep.
So
It's
what did
almost
you
3.
do?
And so then I put on Elf with Will Ferrell
The little Christmas movie.
because I needed to get that movie out of my head.
I remember waking up because I hear the movie Elf, and I'm like, what happened to the other movie?
So you woke up when I was watching Elf and you started laughing.
Could have been like 4,
You started laughing hard.
like an hour later.
You were like, why are you watching Elf? Is it because you were scared?
You were like, yeah.
And I was like, Angel, screw you. You fell asleep under the blanket because you were scared too.
No.
And you were like, no, I wasn't. I wasn't scared.
I wasn't scared, Manny.
So to this day, we still have this debate on.
Maybe if I wouldn't have laughed at you, you wouldn't have felt so defensive, and you would have to make it to where I was scared. But I wasn't scared that day.
Yeah, you were.
You were scared.
You were scared of Chucky.
Yeah, but
This is
know.
the exorcism of Emily Rose, which is scary compared to Chucky.
I'm not scared of him anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. We were talking about back then, though.
Yeah, but even around that time, I wasn't scared of him. I got over him like at 11.
All right, you were scared of that movie. Maybe now you're not as scared of these movies. I am. I think they're scary.
I'm like Batman.
What?
I'm like Batman.
How?
Because Batman was scared of bats, and now he's Batman. He loves bats. And I was scared of Chucky, and now I'm just like Batman because I'm not scared of him. I embrace him. I watch all his movies. I'm his #1 fan.
All right, so we're just going to end on that. Angel's Batman.
I'm Batman. But before we end it, I want everyone to know I wasn't scared. And we're going to end it at that. Nothing else. Don't say a word. Don't say a word.
You know
Don't
what?
say a word. I wasn't scared.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to our first episode.
And I wasn't scared. He was scared.
I was scared. I'll admit, I was scared.
I wasn't.
But you were scared too. That's why you fell asleep under the
I was
blanket.
tired. Manny, we're just going to keep going, okay? Let's just end it.